I just put a tweet out, and I said, I'm looking for something bad in these numbers, and I'm looking hard. I don't see one.
No, and this was a good quarter for Twitter, and I think the stock is kind of a relief rally in the aftermarket here. I think investors finally are getting a little bit of comfort that this is, in fact, going to be a good, solid, long-term growth story. There really was concern about user growth, about engagement, and what we saw this quarter was not only a beat on the top line and bottom line, but it was really coming from the fundamentals, from these key metrics like monthly active users, mobile users, and we're starting to see that grow and accelerate and keep that growth rate strong. And more importantly, we saw the company, kind of put out some third-quarter guidance that was better than the street was looking for, and actually put out some formal guidance for 2014 that was better than their original guidance. So I think investors are taking a little bit of comfort that the re-accelerated growth story, if you will, has some legs to it.
Deborah, when you looked at the numbers that they reported today, or what you know about what's going on as it relates to engagement and advertising, what has Twitter figured out?
Twitter has done a great job this quarter, better than everybody expected, right? It's really taking flight. I think that Twitter really has a lock on what we would call advertising in the moment, or real-time marketing. And a lot of marketers are very, very interested in figuring out how to reach people when they're in the moment. For example, last month watching the World Cup games, when the guy from Uruguay bit the ear of an Italian player, and all these marketers jumped in and put out tweets that were timed to that. Twitter's really one of the only platforms where marketers can consistently do something like that, and I think that that's been really powerful. Another thing I think that's been really powerful for Twitter is the fact that marketers who are TV advertisers can use technology from Twitter to sync up advertising on Twitter that is timed to when their ads are appearing on television. And so that really gives Twitter a good in to the TV marketers and to the TV advertisers, which we all know is a huge business that all of these social media companies want to get more of.
Deborah, did today's numbers show us that Twitter has really figured out advertising on mobile, a problem that is vexing so many companies in the world of the Internet?
Well, Twitter was lucky. It was born mobile. Twitter was born as a mobile service, and it has consistently been a very strong performer in mobile advertising. Facebook's also strong. Facebook, everybody was worried about it a few years ago. Oh my gosh, no, Facebook's not going to be able to get any mobile ad revenues, death and doom, et cetera, et cetera. They've figured it out. Twitter has already figured it out as well. And so, I think it's just nothing but up as more and more advertising dollars go towards mobile. A company like Twitter is very well positioned to take advantage of that.
So, Paul, the show is called Taking Stock. It's not called Bloomberg West. And Bloomberg West, we don't like talking about stock prices. But I am curious about this stock because it's flying in after hours. There was speculation. I see all these knuckleheads on Twitter.
Right.
That's where knuckleheads go. Exactly. Knuckleheads like me. But people saying it was a short squeeze. Short interest is actually really small. This is not a short squeeze.
This is not a short squeeze. It's only about, we just looked at the numbers on the Bloomberg Terminal before coming down. It's about 7 or 8% of outstanding. So really not a big short position here. Again, I kind of call it a relief rally. I think a lot of people wanted to own this stock, but it's been very volatile since the IPO. It's pulled back, almost 50% from its high. So there's a lot of people that got burned in this stock. And the central question was, is Twitter going to be a niche advertising medium? Or is it going to be more of a mass internet advertising medium like Facebook? And that's all driven by the metrics. Are people coming to Twitter, and are they staying there in engagement? And I think the numbers we got here in the second quarter, I think the increased guidance for the year gives investors a sense that this can, in fact, be a bigger internet advertising story than maybe we thought. So now, having acknowledged the existence of advertisers, I'm going to say, or of investors, let me say that I don't care about them whatsoever. We're really much more interested in the business. The idea that they're getting $1.60 per user, which was sort of the revenues per user in the quarter, double what it was last year, am I right to look at that and say they must be contextualizing their ads better if they're getting such higher pay per ad? They are, and I think that's true of a lot of the social media that we talk about. It's all about contextualizing the ad. You can't just stick a banner ad up there. That's not going to work anymore. Advertisers won't pay for it. It's not appropriate for that type of experience. So the Facebooks of the world, the LinkedIns of the world, and now Twitter are really starting to figure out how to really integrate advertising in there, and we're going to start to see it with some of that revenue per user that you mentioned. We're going to continue to see a strong growth, and mobile, as Deborah mentioned, is a huge part of it. It's 81% of the revenue for Twitter, absolutely among the highest of all the companies out there. So they figured out mobile. They seem to have figured out how to continue to attract users and to keep them engaged, and that's what advertisers are looking for. Deborah, do you agree? Are advertisers really embracing this and paying more to be on Twitter than they were even 3 or 4 months ago?
Well, I think you saw a nice bump from the World Cup. There were a lot of advertisers who specifically bought into Twitter because of what was going on with the World Cup. And Twitter itself put a lot of marketing effort behind the World Cup as well to attract new users. So, I think what the proof in the pudding is going to be how Twitter performs next quarter and the fourth quarter. If they keep this momentum going, if they're able to continue to, attract advertisers at a strong rate, and if they're able to continue to innovate with new advertising products, particularly ones that link advertisers in real time to Twitter users, or help advertisers link more closely to what they're doing on television. I think those are probably two drivers that are going, if Twitter can go ahead and do, accomplish those things, I think that Twitter is going to have a good second half of the year.
Deborah, what about the acquisitions that they've done? They've done a lot of, some leading up into the IPO and a few afterwards, that seem to be more about the machinery around placing ads. Are we seeing the results of those? Are people throughout the internet business talking about this?
Well, I think that one of the key acquisitions was the acquisition of MoPub, which took place last year. MoPub helps Twitter in a couple of regards. First of all, by being a mobile ad network, so enabling Twitter to sell advertising, to actually gain advertising revenue outside of the Twitter service on mobile apps. And MoPub also has technology that Twitter can use to make its own advertising better. It also acquired a couple of other mobile companies recently as well. And, I think one of the key points here is that Twitter is, with these mobile acquisitions, they're really focused on mobile targeting and mobile retargeting, which is very hard to do because this might get a little bit inside baseball for the advertising business, but cookies don't work very well on mobile devices, if at all, and so you need a different way to retarget people. Right. And in the mobile environment, that's going to be really important. Someone's shopping online, doesn't make a purchase, right, or using their mobile phone later on in the day, you want to be able to reach them as an advertiser. So I think those are smart acquisitions that Twitter has made.